That's our program plan for as of tonight. Tonight, RMA will present the draft update in two segments: the proposed streetscape improvements and the proposed building standards for guiding private development. There will be an opportunity for the public to input after each segment of the presentation. So, one segment will provide the opportunity for input. They'll let you know when that opportunity will come. And in the second part of the presentation, same thing will happen at the end of the hour. I don't think we have any elected officials on the current commission here at this time. We're expecting at least Commissioner Trentalis would like to acknowledge our former Commissioner Charlotte Rochman. I saw her here earlier. And have our staff members around. Many of you know them. El Parker, here, our urban design and planning manager, staff sitting at the back table there. I think I saw down Al Carter, our Department of Transportation and Mobility director, and Chris Larkin, one of our assistant city managers, also just here. One housekeeping item: construction is happening around us, and there aren't convenient facilities nearby. The bathroom is a challenge to get to. So if you have to go, here are the instructions. As you go out the door, make a right, go down the hallway, and you have to actually get on the elevator to go to the 5th floor. I'm being dead honest with this. You have to get on the elevator to go. So those are the accommodations that we have. I'm sure you'll use that wisely and as efficiently as possible. But this is a great room, and we'll have a great dialogue, and we look forward to hearing what you have to tell us in terms of your reaction to what we present tonight. Without further ado,
all right, let's see. Click this. Can everybody hear me? Yes. Awesome. All right, so thank you all for the introduction. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Natasha Alfonso. I'm the Director of Urban Design and Planning for RMA. And I've been leading this project along with an incredible team that I'm sure you saw at the last meeting, who's really the backbone behind this process that has endured for about 2 years now. So there's been a lot of work that has happened in the last 2 years, a lot of analysis, and I believe great intentions behind the recommendations. So tonight, keep an open mind about everything that we're going to talk about. Some of the things are going to sound far-fetched, but please just keep in mind that we're looking at this from the master plan level, which is the 30,000 foot up in the air. We're looking at what are all the possible solutions, putting them out there, and just put a value. And as we get through the process in the next 2 years, 5 years, we'll have more clarity and direction for some of the specific improvements. But to get started right away, and again, let me know if my voice goes off because the mic is kind of... Oh, and to acknowledge Commissioner Trentalis. Good evening. Would you like to say some words before we get... Sure.
I thought we were at the other hotel. Sorry about that.
well, the hors d'oeuvres are better there, I just want you to know.
But what I do see is a lot of eager faces here, and I'm very, very happy to see the turnout. And I know that part of it is due to the accomplishments that you're going to be able to talk about tonight, which I know are extensive. We put together an enormous program tonight, and so I don't want to keep you too long because I know there's a lot to talk about. But I do want to say that this is the culmination of 3 years worth of work. Began 3 years ago in November on the beach, in which we first started this process. And I want to be able to let you know that when this is all said and done, because tonight is not going to be the end of it, it's just the beginning. But when it's all said and done, we will have a framework for development on the beach, which we should have had 2 years ago before all the development came to the beach, right? Yes. So let's hope that we can now establish a roadmap for those that seek to invest in our community. They know exactly what we are looking for, what this community is asking for, so that we don't have meetings till 3 or 4 in the morning, because I'm telling you, I'm getting too old for that, right? So anyway, thank you so much. I appreciate all your work, and I look forward to participating tonight with everyone. Thank you.
Okay, so let's get started. As Al said, we're going to break this presentation up into 2 parts. This first part is the whole analysis about the public realms and our proposed recommendations. Just to get you familiarized with the area for those who may not be, the boundaries of the study area are on the north, the Sunrise Lake Boulevard. To the south is just shy outside of the Bahia Mar development, and it's the area between the intercoastal and the beach. As you can see on the map, there is within the study area, part of that study area is actually the Central Beach CRA. The Sasaki Master Plan that was developed in 2009 identified 5 specific character areas for the Central Beach. You'll see you have the South Beach, the Central Beach, the Mid Beach, North Beach, and Sunrise Lane. The Central Beach RAC, or what is defined as the Regional Activity Center, which has its own set of rules and regulations for development, actually has within it 6 distinctly different zoning districts. And all of you are probably aware you've got the ABA, the PRD, the MBRA, etc. Within the Central Beach, there is also a planned unit development zoning district that has its own set of regulations, and that particular development, as you may know, it is the Gale Hotel, is not subject to these requirements. So we are talking about all of the other zoning districts within the study area. Now, several efforts have led to the establishment of a vision for the Central Beach, beginning in 2009 with the Sasaki Master Plan. The plan's goals at the time, and we believe they're still true today, were oriented around enhancing connectivity and pedestrian experience, establishing usable public open spaces, preserving and enhancing architectural resources, and promoting a mix of uses and users. In 2011, the City Commission authorized about $70 million worth of public improvement projects within the Central Beach CRA, as originally outlined in the Sasaki Master Plan. This work helped to move forward the vision of a dynamic, mixed-use, pedestrian-friendly urban beach destination, which is what you see already today in your community. In 2013, the City Commission passed the 2035 Vision Plan called the Fast Forward, and their strategic plan called Press Play. The 2035 Vision Plan is an effort to advance the vision that Sasaki Master Plan created for the Central Beach, which states, "We are here, we are an urban center and a vacation land in the heart of South Florida." Finalizing the Central Beach Master Plan is a fiscal year 2014 priority, so what Commissioner Gonzalez said is we've been in the making of this for quite some time. So it's a 2014 priority initiative in the Vision Plan and a fiscal year 2018 priority initiative in the strategic plan of the city. Significant public investments in the Central Beach has equally encouraged a significant amount of private investment. As you can see here, there's over 200 residential units that are currently under construction, over 300 hotel rooms, and in the pipeline, we've got over 300 residential units and over 600 hotel rooms. That's not counting what's currently under review or in the planning stage. The focus today should really be twofold. The first is to ensure that we move forward to improve the remaining portions of the Central Beach that are not within the CRA, and that are under public control. And the second mission is to establish the design and development standards to ensure that we not only continue to create a more comfortable pedestrian and bike-oriented beach environment, but that the public realm is framed with appropriately scaled mixed-use buildings that together will help create a vibrant, active, resort, and residential community. So, in terms of what we're going to talk about for this first part, we're going to break it down into two main subject areas. The first has to do with sustainability and resiliency and how do we deal with climate change. And the second part is where we delve right into the public realm improvements related to your open spaces, your connectivity, and your streetscape improvements. So how do we address climate change? We know that climate change is a global issue, but it's also a very local issue for us in South Florida. In December of 2015, just nearly a year ago, the Southeast Florida Regional Climate Leadership held a summit in Key West. That summit focused on the real aftermath challenges affecting communities like Key West and Miami Beach in South Florida, and other communities outside of Florida, such as Tybee Island in Georgia and New Orleans in Louisiana, who, as we know, have been heavily affected by climate change. One common denominator among all of these communities was the daunting cost of resiliency. All of the coastal communities at that summit agreed that the high cost of re-engineering and rebuilding for impacts that are still decades down the road represents the biggest hurdle for both policymakers and planners alike. In Monroe County, they conducted a study that revealed that for every dollar that they spent in flood proofing and elevating their buildings, they saved, on average, $14.25 in avoided damage from storm surge and high sea level rise in 2060. So that's a big figure to keep in mind. In Miami Beach, hotel and business owners say that recent floods hurt profits due to cancellations and early departures. You can imagine we are a beach community who rely on our tourists to help our businesses grow. The assistant building director, Elizabeth Wheaton of Miami Beach, came out and said at the summit that very day, she said, our city's aim is to reduce the financial and physical losses in their building stock by reshaping where and how they rebuild. The city has adopted several adoption strategies, some of which you can see up here include greening. We know that greening and adding landscaping for filtration and drainage is wonderful and it's great for the environment, but has a limited effect. Installing pumps and injection wells, which again are there to be able to get the water out when there's flooding. One of the other things that the city of Miami Beach is currently doing, and these are examples of that, photos, is raising their street elevations and redesigning the drainage and underground infrastructure to be able to accommodate the sea level rise. In their code, they're actually placing stricter requirements for new development to build at a higher base floor elevation. So they're definitely taking that to a greater extent. And for buildings that are not able to comply or they're not able to be raised because they're built, let's say, on flat ground, they are raising. If they're not raising the finished floor elevation, they're unfortunately tearing them down and rebuilding and starting again just to be able to adapt. So this is a good example to look at. Now, the city of Fort Lauderdale is taking very proactive measures to address sea level rise as well. The proposed community investment plan for fiscal year 2016 to 2020 identifies several parts of the city as adaptation action areas. The areas that you see colored in pink on the map will be subject to major flooding as early as 2040, when sea level rise is expected to rise a foot. By 2060, it is expected to rise 2 feet. The Central Beach is one of those areas. The city has designated as a AAA, or an adaptation action area. These areas, Central Beach as well, are eligible for prioritized funding for infrastructure and adaptation planning. The county and the city have both adopted policies for supporting the adaptation of the North Beach area and include policies for identifying, again, priority areas for flood resiliency, green infrastructure, very much like what the city of Miami Beach is doing, encouraging green construction and stormwater management, requiring higher elevations for streets and higher base floor elevations for buildings. So the aim at the end of the day is, again, to improve the adaptability of these areas to accommodate the sea level rise and increasing impervious areas and salt-tolerant landscaping. However, implementing these policies that you see here is quite a challenge in this particular area and in any area that faces climate change issues. Primarily because there are political impediments, there's an issue of funding, there are institutional restrictions, and obviously just resources in general. So what impact does the climate change have on our historic and architectural resources? We know that a great deal of the Central Beach historic resources are located in the lowest lying areas of the Central Beach, which is the North Beach Village, that will be greatly impacted by sea level rise. The great deal of uncertainty for the future of these buildings leave us wondering if it is viable to preserve them, and if so, and if we do, for how long. Some of these structures are built at grade, making it difficult and costly to relocate them. But let's not lose hope. There are many, many methods that we can utilize for preserving buildings, and it's a matter of timing of which methods you choose first or later. So as I said, there are several methods for preserving historical structures. Too fast. Not all of these methods are possible or feasible in the Central Beach. However, it is important to explain them and understand the differences between them, since there are so many misconceptions of how these methods work. The first method is to relocate a building. I talked about it briefly. The challenge with that method is that some of the buildings within the North Beach are not elevated, so they're built at grade. Some of those structures are not necessarily sound enough to be able to pick up and relocate, but in some cases where you could, that is certainly a viable solution. It's very costly, and it's difficult, but it's possible. The second method for preservation is what we call adaptive reuse. So when relocation is not possible or feasible, the building can be reused over and over until it reaches its natural lifespan. So the example is the North Beach Hotel, which used to be the Royal Saxon Apartments building that's stayed within the community for several decades, and is certainly one that has been reused over and over again. The third method for preserving your historical structures is what we call context-sensitive redevelopment. So the Gale Hotel, which is the picture at the top right, is a recently approved development, and it's a perfect example of this method of preservation. This is a project that incorporates the existing historic structures as part of a bigger redevelopment project. The incentive in this particular project was for preserving these buildings is that development potential for the overall site was quite high, and it provided the resources that were needed in order to offset the costs of rehabbing the historic structures now, and to some extent in the future, even if the building The last method, and probably the most misunderstood method for preserving historical structures, is what we call the transfer of development rights, or TDRs. And the intent of TDRs originally was to allow development entitlements within a PUD to be clustered in a basket, so to speak. So a PUD is a planned unit development. We talked about that earlier. That's when a developer comes in and says, I don't want to abide by these certain zoning regulations. I'm going to create my own planned development, and I'm going to make my own rules of how I'm going to develop that site. So the original intent of TDRs was for those types of developments to be able to preserve vacant, environmentally sensitive land within a property while having the flexibility to allocate those development entitlements over the rest of the land as they saw fit, without losing their maximum permitted entitlements. Today, however, TDRs are used to transfer unbuilt entitlements from a sending area to intensify development in a receiving area, so in two separate areas. In the Central Beach, there are several challenges for implementing TDRs. I would say the first challenge is the city's entitlement method for the Central Beach RAC, which is based on a basket of rights system. This means that there is a total number of units or trips for the entire district versus a parcel by parcel allocation, as some of you may be used to in other parts of the city. This sort of entitlement method makes it very difficult to qualify a sending area because there are no specific entitlements that are assigned to each parcel that can later be transferred somewhere else. In addition, in the Central Beach RAC, there aren't that many unused development rights left in the basket today, so that concept of TDRs is quite difficult to accomplish today in the Central Beach. On the receiving end, the second challenge we have is determining where in the Central Beach we will send the rights to. Some districts, like the ADAs, have no density allocations, therefore those parcels don't need additional rights as bonus. Then the next question is going to be whether those rights can be transferred to another location in the city. And if so, how do we value them and who buys them? Because again, they're not prescribed as a unit per acre on a particular lot. This entire concept of transfer of development rights requires a whole new separate study outside of this if we really want to contemplate the idea and determine how it can be utilized in the best way for the future. So a group of students from FAU's School of Architecture under the leadership of Professor Jeff Huber, and he was here at the first presentation, he gave a whole overview of the work that the students are working on, is assisting the city in analyzing specific strategies for adaptation planning through design. These strategies include increasing the landscaping and tree canopy from 9.7% within the Central Beach within the North Beach to approximately 23.6%, and that's actually in the city's strategic plan today to increase landscaping. FAU received a NIA grant to design the stormwater gardens in the North Beach Village. For those of you who don't know what the NIA grant is, that's the National Endowment for the Arts grant. And in addition, they received a NOAA grant, a NOAA Florida Sea grant, to conduct a hydrological assessment and modeling of the North Beach Village to assess the effectiveness of green infrastructure for drainage and to identify low-impact development technologies. The NOAA grant is the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Please keep in mind that this study that FAU is undergoing is an academic study where everyone is, again, thinking outside of the box for future possible solutions. The specific designs that have been explored to date are not necessarily to be taken literally at this point, as they do need to be vetted and coordinated with the proposed streetscape improvements. And even this process is not going to define 100%. It's a process that will take several years in the making. So moving on to the urban design analysis. Our analysis began with a thorough understanding of the existing conditions of your streetscapes, your open spaces, and the current development patterns in transportation and parking needs for the entire Central Beach. We evaluated potential solutions for enhancing the connectivity throughout the beach, enhancing and providing access to public open spaces and waterfronts, but most of all, balancing the needs of pedestrians, bicycles, and vehicles. After evaluating your existing open spaces for function and design and analyzing the sites for potential new public open spaces, our team created an open space and greenways plan, which you may have seen when you walked in the door earlier and had a chance to kind of explore the boards that are around the room. This plan establishes a system of interconnected greenways and open spaces that are both existing and new. The map highlights the potential pedestrian connections between the intercoastal and the beach, as well as the potential pedestrian access points along the intercoastal. As you may know, the city is currently in a lease agreement with a marina developer to carve out part of the land area north of the proposed parking garage on Lauderdale Boulevard. The plan is to excavate and remove the existing surface parking and increase the size of the marina. The lease agreement is scheduled to go to the commission February, I believe, of next year. And if it passes, the area will not be solely a park. It will have a combination of park and marina and open water space. The area south of Las Olas Bridge is being designed as a passive green space. There is some talk of the marina developer that's working on the property to the north to potentially locate a restaurant in this area. But as of now, the CRA is designing it as a park space. So that's what we understand. So, in order to achieve a better balance, and we know we've been talking about that, increasing that level of connectivity between the pedestrians, the bicyclists, and the vehicles. But in order to achieve that balance, we did a very thorough physical analysis of your street conditions to evaluate what are the widths of the lanes in every one of these streets, your sidewalks, your landscape strips, to really understand the physical dimensions of all of the basic elements that you need in order to make streets in your public realm better. The analysis identified that some streets have constraints within the right-of-way that restrict the proper placement of those elements. Our team evaluated required minimum setbacks to achieve the desired public realm and analyzed which streets contain active use and which ones did not. We're going to spend quite a bit of time later on active use and what that really means. But as a result, we developed a street network and connectivity plan, which is what you see up here on the screen. This plan replaces the current People Streets requirement that are currently in the code, which are not necessarily consistent and they're difficult to enforce, with more specific and clear standards for each one of those streets within the Central Beach. This plan breaks up the street system within the Central Beach into three main categories or hierarchies: primary, secondary, and tertiary. So if you're looking at the map and wondering why is my street colored one color and why is it called this, what this does is that it establishes, based on the hierarchy, basic minimum requirements for each one of those streets. So primary streets are those main roadways that traverse through the district, connecting the Central Beach to other parts of the city. So an example of that is Las Olas Boulevard, Sunrise Boulevard, A1A, and Seabreeze. For primary streets, all modes of transportation as well as active use are important, as these are the gateways into the Central Beach. Your secondary streets are your north-south streets connecting various neighborhoods together, and the east-west streets that connect the intercoastal to the beach. Examples of those are Birch Road, Terramar, Vistamar, and Rio Road. For secondary streets, all modes of transportation and active use are also very important and play a key role in enhancing walkability and connectivity. Tertiary streets, which are the lowest in the category, are what we call local streets that are unique to each and every one of the districts. In tertiary streets, vehicular connectivity is the most important thing to address there. These are the streets that provide access to parking, service, and loading, and there's many streets that have that. So in these streets, all modes of transportation and active use are not always going to be feasible or possible. Now, some of the streets like Cortez, and most of you are very familiar with this particular roadway, do not provide enough active use along the street edge. Vehicular use areas such as driveways and parking dominate the public realm along the street edge. When there is no habitable space at the street level, there are no eyes on the street providing natural surveillance. The goal in today's exercise and what we've been working on for the last several months is to ensure, or to make sure that we provide more active uses such as storefronts, sidewalks at the street level, as well as landscaping and tree canopy to encourage more pedestrian connectivity in a livelier, safer street environment. Because one of the goals of the Central Beach is to improve mobility and accessibility throughout and encourage alternate modes of transportation, the strategies for the proposed streetscape improvements are centered around the concept of providing safer connections. The team analyzed conditions on the street where backup parking exists, creating conflicts between vehicles, pedestrians, and bicyclists, and identified specific streetscape improvements to address this. A bicycle facilities plan, which again you probably saw when you walked in the room, for the entire Central Beach was created, which incorporates several types of bicycle facilities, including designated bike lanes, sharrows, and shared use paths. So bicycle lanes and sharrows are both located within the pavement area of the roadway. Shared use paths, on the other hand, are raised medians running through the center of the roadway that provide a buffered space for both pedestrians and bicyclists. In the Central Beach, there are currently 2 water taxi stops, one at the south of Bahia Mar and the other at the end of Cortez Street. Our team analyzed the potential for 3 additional stops, one at the aquatic complex, which you see at the far left, the second one at the end of Seville Street, and the third at the end of Rio Mar Street as part of a future redevelopment site. We're going to talk about later some of the incentives that we are providing in the building standards and the code to encourage things as new open spaces and pedestrian connections to the waterfront. So I'm not going to get into that now. Now, at the workshop in March, just a few months ago, we spoke extensively about the planned street improvements for the North Beach Village and the existing street conditions. The planned street improvements, as we know, in the North Beach include bicycle lane striping on Birch Road, the A1A resurfacing and crosswalk enhancement project, which will include in-ground LED lights, pocket parks, pedestrian entryways to the Bonnet House at the end of Breakers Avenue, and painted intersections and ADA improvements on Breakers Avenue as part of an Art of the Community grant. Now, that particular project has already been completed, but that was part of the planned streetscape improvements. The Connecting the Blocks initiative includes shadows or bike route signage that are planned for Antioch Avenue, Bayshore Drive, Breakers Avenue, North Birch Road, Vista Mar, Orton, Terramar, and Rio Mar. In the North Beach, we conducted a public realm survey to analyze the conflicts between pedestrians and vehicles and the conditions of the streets and sidewalks. So we spent quite a bit of time on this particular area of the Central Beach. In March, the community took a closer look at each of the streets and prioritized additional desired improvements for the North Beach, including safer pedestrian crossings, more landscaping, and additional improvements to the intersections of North Birch Road and Terramar Street, as well as North Birch Road and Bayshore, and Antioch and Terramar Street. So also in March, we introduced some very preliminary ideas on potential streetscape improvements, which were both short-term and long-term. The short-term improvements that we spoke about are, in a nutshell, inexpensive type of solutions that can be implemented within the existing right-of-way without moving any curbs. And those improvements include bicycle lane striping, painted intersections, bulb outs, and landscape items. Now, short-term improvements can continue to be prioritized every year and programmed in the city's capital improvements plan. Funding, however, is limited and will require the acquisition of grants as well as budget allocation. Longer-term improvements are solutions that require substantially more funding and effort to implement, and that's primarily because the conditions of the streets are poor or there's very little limited right-of-way. In this case, the only way to achieve the optimal streetscape solution is to move the curbs and obtain easements. The second reason it requires more funding is that some of the streets that have longer-term solutions are in low-lying areas that will be affected by sea level rise. So at some point, the city will have to determine if those proposed improvements should be implemented before or after raising the roads. Certainly, there's time to think about that, but it is very difficult at this point to plan for the next 5 years without really understanding the answer to that one question. Plans, obviously, as you know, will evolve as more clarity on this particular issue with sea level rise is obtained. Now, in terms of paying for the improvements, some of these improvements are going to have to be completed by the city, as we talked about earlier. However, there are times that certain improvements can be passed on to the